That's where we are.
Something's wrong.
God's playground, they call it.
All right, I think we're live. Let's check. No disclaimer to start us off here. We're just jumping right in, everyone.
Wait, you mean like we're live right now?
I
They can
think
hear
we're
what I'm
live,
saying right now.
like right now, right now.
Hello, good morning, and welcome in to another episode of Wine Wednesday. I'm not your host tonight. Kyle's the host of Wine Wednesday, but I am the natural speaker of the group. We are joined today by me, Don Master Mateo, Kyle Williams, phenomenal trader, the slayer of stocks, the short selling wizard, the I'm so bearish, I'm bullish, and special guest today by popular demand, Mr. J Bones himself, Jordan O'Gwyn, the
What's
sniper of
up?
stocks, the scalper of everything.
Really? Is that what
Hello.
do you think that's accurate? Was that an accurate description there?
Um,
If you're
yeah,
out there, he'll scalp you.
yeah, scalper of everything.
Are you sure we're live?
Yeah, we got comments.
All right.
What's going on, everybody?
Comment scalper of everything if you're here. Welcome in. How we all doing tonight, gentlemen?
Feeling
Good,
great.
man. How about you?
Yeah.
Good. This is the last Wine Wednesday before the boot camp. I feel like we've been talking about it for years now. All three of us, good-looking gentlemen, will be there this weekend in New York City. Have you ever been there, Jordan?
No, never. How about you?
I've never been there either. Kyle's been there because he's cultured.
I got family out there, so I have been quite a few times.
Typical San Diego one to have New York City family.
Didn't know that was a stereotype, but we can make it one.
From coast to coast, huh?
Yeah.
I'm excited though. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm excited too. I just really want ramen. We've been talking about it for months.
Jordan, did you came to our was it Boston or was it Phoenix or was it neither? Because I know we were
I I
or I saw
came
you
and
I saw you
yeah,
somewhere.
I hung
I
out
was
in
probably
Phoenix,
Huddy
and
and
then
Dom.
yeah, Huddy and Dom before that.
There we go. Yeah,
But like,
that's what it was. How do you
I
know
was
one was
in
fun?
Phoenix, but I didn't come to the thing.
Right. I remember we said oh yeah, that's right. We saw each other outside of the conference and stuff. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, very nice. Well, welcome onto the show. Everyone, by popular demand, wanted you on here. I heard a rumor from Dom. I don't want to say it out loud unless it's true, unless Dom can confirm it.
I wasn't even told by the source.
Oh, so we don't even know if it's
It was making its way around the kitchen, if
the
you will.
Michigan.
A
town?
deer told me, honestly. A small doe told me this morning, passing through.
that
Whispered in your ear.
Jordan, you may have crossed a milestone. Is that true?
The big halfway point.
Halfway point to 1,000,000, 500,000. Everyone in chat gave a W.
Snaps and claps.
Halfway there.
Thanks, guys.
That's a big one. How do you feel any different? I mean, people always ask this, like when you get a milestone, do you feel any different? Do you celebrate anyway? Does it make you want to trade any differently, or is it just same old process, day in day out?
Yeah, I mean, this year has just been pretty insane so far, and my goal was to like focus on just sizing up, not really changing too much about how I long, but really just, kind of crank the size up. And so I feel like that milestone, like I hadn't thought about that milestone in a long time, and then it just kind of happened yesterday. And
Right.
then, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's whatever.
Well, you
But it
had to have
doesn't make.
known the last few weeks that you were getting there.
I didn't. I really didn't, because I really hadn't tallied anything up since January, and I just kind of forgot
Wow.
a little bit.
Well, that's awesome. It happened by mistake.
A little
Probably
bit,
better
yeah.
that you didn't know.
Yeah, probably.
I remember the day I passed 1,000,000 in profits was 100K day. So I wasn't even thinking that I was within
I
shooting
was
distance
there.
of it.
I took a
And
picture
then-
of you 10 seconds after.
And then all of a sudden it was just like, wait, we just killed two birds with one stone.
Dude,
And-
I'm gonna pull up
So
that.
it
I
was
have a
really,
picture of you.
cool.
I have a
It
picture
is.
of
It's
you.
always cool to hit those ones. I think the first time you go profitable is the big one. I think somewhere between 50, but 100K definitely. You're kind of like, whoa, like that's a legit amount of money that most people don't make in a year. And I finally
Right.
done it trading, and then everyone along the way is important, but 500 makes you feel like, whoa, I'm on the other side of potentially hitting 1,000,000.
What month was that in 2020?
Oh, that was early. That was probably, I think it
January,
was,
February, right?
yeah. Was it 2020 or 2021?
I have the funniest picture of you.
2021. You're right. It wasn't 2020.
Yeah, because the second one came fast. So it's probably 2021. I think it was, yeah, when OTCs were moving.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in your phone? He's
I'm
kind of
looking for
like
that picture,
Botsky.
looking for
He's
the
just got a
picture of you,
bunch of
but I can't
archives.
find it, so I'm not going to waste too
He
much time.
he's the kind of guy
Oh,
you
here it
don't want to
is.
do wrong because he'll find something on you.
Look at that smile. Yeah,
Uh,
126. That's yeah. I think didn't yeah. It was like me, you, and Huddy. We all passed a million like the same week. It was
yes,
that.
yeah.
It was yeah. The end of January into February was like
That
That was
was
I
like
that was
liked
it.
30
that
seconds
office.
after that
I
happened.
liked that office.
Yeah, that was sick.
Oh,
But it
those were the
makes
good
me
old days.
it makes me think about well, you mentioned them down for a second, where your first. It's almost like the same way I think of how hard it is for the market cap of a stock to go up. So it's harder for a billion to go to 2 billion, but it's very easy for it to go from a market cap to go to 10 billion or 10 million to 20 million, just based on how small it is. But it's the opposite for trading, where it's like super hard to probably gather your first 10 to 20K in profits, as it is. But then to get to the 50 is a little easier, then 100 is a little easier, but that's always the hardest for the first 100K is always the hardest. And now we're in Jordan, where you're at, like your first 500K. It's like I can't help but think, if I was a betting man, your next 500 will be not instantly easier, but like just so much more free flowing and efficient, if you want to call it, to where you might pass a million and feel the same way you do now, where it's like, oh, I just wasn't even keeping track. It just happened. You're just on that path at this point, which is great. So
It's
Yeah,
kind of that
man.
stamp of approval too. It's kind of like, here, evidence. I know what I'm doing. Like for a while you can't say that, even if you made some money, because there's so many people out there who've had a lucky week or on a bigger account who are just beginning, who've made 50K, 75K, 100K. But when you've done it for, years and you've put in the time and you've shown consistency, what a P&L curve looks like, and you hit the milestones that, I feel like it resonates with yourself more too. You don't care about telling other people, but it's more of like, wow, I set out on this journey that people told me 5% of people succeed doing, and look at what I've accomplished. Like there's been a lot of horrible days, a lot of great days, a lot of hard nights, but it's just like along the way, it's like draft night for those NFL guys who've been doing it their whole life, and then it's just like that stamp of approval. It's like, I'm here, welcome to the show.
that's a good
Yeah.
one. Well,
And like starting New Year, I just was like, I need to be taking probably like 20 to 30K position sizes minimum, and then just slowly increase it as the year goes on. And it just happened to be like a really forgiving market. And then that kind of like positively reinforced, and it just like snowballed. And so now at the end of February, it's like my best 2 months ever back to back. And so just hoping to keep that going.
Sweet. And was
Yeah.
January and February your better months in previous years as well? Like, did you? I know,
Yeah.
I know the general stage of sizing up, like you just want to keep pushing it, but did you also know in the back of your head of like these are the months to do it as well, kind of thing?
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I know from almost 4 years now that April is not my month. So I got some vacations planned for April.
there we
So
go. Smart.
yeah.
That's like my. I think it's my August. I struggle immensely in August. So
August
maybe we
is my
should.
second worst.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe we should. Yeah, we got to take off. Make sure.
I'm too
The
much of I'm
A's.
so
totally
I'm an
gone.
optimist. I could have like stats showing me that like I've lost $500,000 in August over my entire 8-year career, and still just go into every August
Yeah.
like, this
This
is
is
the
it.
year.
This is the
This
year.
is
Yeah.
the one. This is the one that's gonna switch it up. Everyone's like, take the vacation. I'm like, I think I'm gonna sit here longer
Yeah.
every day.
I'm proving August wrong this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
the
funny.
sizing thing, I think people, especially beginners, we get questions all the time about how to size up, when to size up, forcing it, let it happen. What did your size look like last year? Like that you felt like, because I was in the boat where it took me too long to size up. I kind of had to force myself to, which sounds like you were, where it's like, I just need to be risking more. Um,
Yep.
and you just kind of like force yourself one week. This is the new risk level. We're gonna see how it goes. Because for me, I risked like $200-300 a trade for like 4 or 5 years, and then it wasn't until like I was like, dude, you are just killing it right now and you're just shooting yourself in the foot because you're not risking more per trade. You have to just do it. And eventually you get a little more comfortable with the higher risk. But was that kind of what it's for you? Just you didn't feel like changing because things were going fine?
Well, yeah, and it's just like when I see like I don't even really know how to describe like the best setup. There's like a range of it. When I see like a really good setup, last year, all throughout the year, I was just noticing like there's like a little feeling you get, and it's different than all 90% of the other garbage charts that you look at. When you find the one, there's a little feeling. So it's like you need to capitalize on that. You know, you can't just stick to an arbitrary like $200 risk. Like sometimes you have to break the rules and just kind of like just get in there, you know?
Yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying, but I also think it takes privilege. Like you have to know when you're ready for that. Like if you told
Hmm.
that to a beginner, I would slap you in the face and say, no, they absolutely must stick to a
Right.
regular risk level because they don't
No,
know
just
what they
me
don't
is what
know.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, but eventually you do get to a point. I mean, you've been doing this for a little while. It's not like there were so many traders, I feel like in 2020 and 2021 who I mean, everything's an A plus setup, right? And so when you leave that market, it's like tough to gauge. I feel like because you haven't really been taught what a regular setup looks like, or a B plus versus an A minus. And I do think when you're on your journey, your first 100K should be at a very consistent dollar risk because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know enough to know what you do know. So let the plans play out or fail, and don't try to think you know more than you know at that moment in time. So don't open up the door to lose more when you're not ready for it because you don't have the skills to grow and to go through drawdowns. Like
Hmm.
you want it to be as slow. You look at, I'll bet if we pulled up your profit curve, which maybe Kyle can find, but like it's so slow and steady for the first year or two for most of us, most beginners, because the ones who end up being successful realize it's a journey and you don't need to speed up the journey anymore. And like what you're realizing now is you eventually hit the point where it's like, I can turn the gas on a little bit and hit the pedal and actually start to ramp it. But it's a very gentle balance that you have to get to before you can actually do
Yeah.
that.
I feel like 1 year is like the minimum, you know,
Oh
like
yeah.
you bare minimum.
Yeah, you got to prove it to yourself that you can trust yourself to follow rules, to cut. Because a lot of people, when they size up, what they don't realize is like everything changes. I see people who risk like, let's say $100 on some trades, $300 on some trades, and you can really visually, like, easily tell that they trade both of those trades differently because when they're trading with $300 risk on one random day of the week and they're up $400 total, not even a full, 2R to 1R profit, they get antsy and they're like, I gotta take it. It's $400 because that's a 4-to-1 trade. 4-to-1 R trade when you're risking 100, but it's not even 2-to-1 when you're risking 300. So they're like, it's hard for them to keep trading the right way as they move risk up, which is why I think it's better to be done than just randomly the way me and you did it, which is to like slowly, like, okay, I hit 50K in profits. Now I'm going to risk $100 more, and then 75, $100 more. And you force yourself to not care about because you don't. The last thing you want is the trade to feel different because of the P&L on the line, and you don't want what normally is just a swing of 200 or 300 bucks. Now that it's 1,000 or two, you don't want to trade it different and to feel different, but it does for a period of time. There are some growing pains with sizing up, I feel like. And you've probably been there
Yeah.
on bad days where the numbers are just a little bit bigger, where you're like, what are we doing here? This does not feel comfortable. Um,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about that, you can, but it happens.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I got off kind of like scot free after January ended. And then I believe it was February 1st. I think I traded like 16 different tickers and I was red. And I was red on like
Wait,
14
on
of
one
them
day?
in 1 day.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it ended up being like $6,000 in losses because like I was making some money back, but then I would just keep like losing more. And but that was like my biggest loss in forever. But yeah, that was like I thought I got away with, oh, I'm on top of my shit. Like the market is easy now. But then that February transition, I don't know, something just happened and I just kept losing money all day long. But then those are good mistakes because I think in the long run, they end up really making you more cautious.
Yeah. Resets you almost for February, which would led to even a better month now. I'm guessing,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So for those who maybe don't know you, Jordan, how would you describe your trading style? Well, I know, scalp, like people say scalping, it's so broad as to how you can go about
Yeah.
it. Long,
Dom says
short.
scalping.
Yeah. And maybe it's not even scalping, right? I've noticed many times you could say scalping, but it's scalping is many interpretations is what I've learned. So how would you describe kind of your strategy? How did maybe you came about your strategy, just the overall encompassing kind of
Right.
thing about it?
So I started in a very privileged market. We've all heard that story like 100 times, but stocks were way easier back then. ABCDs were pretty much a daily thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much where I learned to, be like a momentum trader, was just always taking that first or second leg off the ABCD, locking in that profit over and over again. But eventually the ABCDs no longer showed up. It was just more of like you have to sort of find an area under VWAP where you think the price is tightening and where shorts, like where you can estimate shorts are probably going to start covering. And so it's just evolved basically. But yeah, I mean, you could call it scalping, you could call it whatever. I don't really have a name for it. I've never really like thought about it like that. Like I don't know. It's just
Right,
more of
right.
something. Yeah.
And then this is all long. There's nothing short here. You're more looking for when shorts are covering to get long rather than looking when longs are going to sell kind of idea.
Yeah, like I'm not front running breakouts. I'm looking at day ones, day twos, day threes, just the gappers in small cap land that are holding up. Where are they putting in support? How can I wait till like the last possible second to strike and, join in with the other momentum and those legs that you get off of shorts covering? I mean, like small caps are very volatile and there's like multiple ways to find good longs aside from buying above VWAP. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right. And so in terms of that, then are you is it like right out the open? You're immediately starting buying and selling things, or is it like you said, you're waiting, you're giving it some time, you're letting kind of levels form, then you kind of can make your trade plans from there, kind of idea.
yeah, if I see like the occasional nice first green day setup, it usually is right out of the open, but those are kind of like few and far between right now.
Right.
I don't really know why that is, but they're yeah, they're just hard to come by. But as far as I usually try to give at least 10 or 15 minutes into the open if it's like a gapper that's holding up or something like that. I want to figure out, you know, who makes the better case between longs and shorts. So you definitely want that real time data versus pre-market data to go off of. So yeah, I think you need to typically give 10 or 15 minutes and try to be patient.
Right, right.
But it can be at any point of the day. I try to avoid midday, but sometimes there's like a trend break setting up that just looks irresistible, and you just have to be more picky. But yeah, typically morning and afternoon, like every other style kind
Yep.
of.
Yep. Totally.
If you have a question, Jim, were you gonna say something?
I was going to say it's just cool hearing your style because for me, I'm so. Well, you mentioned there you have setups, right? But in many trades, you're also mentioning like they're not necessarily so perfect and
Multicultural.
multicultural, so
Exactly.
perfect and concrete. They could be just very short instances where you just kind of read the action correctly. Like you see a trend break, you see a an oversell off due for kind of pop or bounce. Like it's interesting because I am usually pretty bad at that because the moment I do that and I get it wrong, then I get tilted and then I start attacking and fighting a stock kind of idea. And so it's like for me, I have to put myself in a box where it's like it's got A, B, C, D criteria. It has to look this way, exact way, and then when it hits this price, that's my entry.
Yeah.
And I think most people gravitate towards that only because it's easy to be put in a box, but a lot of traders do end up finding some kind of ebb and flow that's very unique to them, and you're certainly one of them. So it's cool.
I had that exact same problem where you take more entries just 1, 2, or 3 minutes after that first loss. But what I learned after like a couple of years was that I never had a successful re-entry within, I think, like 12 or 13 minutes. So that's kind of just something that I look
Interesting.
at. I usually try to wait like 20, just for another higher, lower high to develop and like the price to tighten further.
Right.
But yeah, it usually always takes over 12 minutes.
Interesting. And that's probably like a good cool down to make sure you're not revenge trading or like quickly getting back in. Because I know for me, I'll get in real quick if I feel like I'm tilted. It'll be back and forth very easily. So cool. Right on. Did you have a question, Dom, earlier?
Yeah, I was. What does preparation look like? We'll finish up here, and I'm gonna go downstairs, and I'm gonna make my watch list for tomorrow. And I will know what tickers that I'm allowed to trade for tomorrow. Seems like you are trading some day one gapper, so like there's a lot of unknown. You're also looking at some of the patterns that we've talked about over the years. Like, How do you narrow down your focus, or is it constantly just looking at the market?
I don't really make watch lists anymore because I'm just not good at it, to be honest. And
So when you show up tomorrow morning at 9, whatever time you show up, what does it look like?
okay,
What's the
so
system?
log in, see what on my watch list currently has volume still tomorrow
And by
because
watch list, you mean your list of tickers on your broker that
yeah,
have
yep,
been in
my
play.
on my broker it's like 30 tickers, just a bunch of random small caps, AI sector, stuff like that. And then I'll look at the market movers list and I'll look at Good Morning Nasdaq for more gappers, I guess. And I still use the Profitly chat because that they put a lot of different tickers, and I don't really read anything anyone says, but I look at tickers and I'll pull them up on the chart and decide for myself. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I just wait to see what it looks like at market open because pre-market is just super deceiving now.
Right.
You know.
Very similar to Kellogg, where he's always he'll shock people. Like we're like, what's your process? Like, do you have a watch list? He's like, no. Kind of how you gave it. It's
Does he
just
say that?
the I remember when he first said it. Right, or it was that along with the fact where he would go like, someone asked him like, do you scan? And Kellogg's like, no, I don't know how to scan. And everyone's always shocked by that. But it's because he like you said, he's just in chat rooms. He's in talks with traders. He's got his former. He has a watch list, but they're just the list of the last 10 to 15 tickers he's traded that were in play or still maybe continuing to be in play. And so it's just this funneling list of tickers that you either see in chat, have traded, and that usually keeps you pretty up to date with what's going on and moving. So there is that different angle to it for people who aren't necessarily
Yeah.
traditionally scanning. So
I literally just keep it organized top to bottom by volume, and then they'll trickle off toward the bottom, and I'll just delete them and forget about them.
right, cool. Well, all right, Chad.
Um,
If you have a little more
yeah,
questions, we'll get to chat's questions for you. Unless Dom, you have one more or something to say.
yeah. I was gonna say, and I've asked him before, but I always like hearing the answers. You were taught by a very different style of teacher trader. How does one, when they're learning how to trade,
Sykes.
He
for
knew,
sure?
he knew he did.
No, I'm talking about me.
Dom's like
Um,
myself.
um, yeah, and scalping scares the crap out of me. But I've never told you not to do it. I've told you sometimes you got to hold for the bigger moves, and I know sometimes that's bitten in the butt, some, birds and stuff. But um, how, like, did you go on that journey? Is it just a feel thing? Like, what I always tell people is like the patterns will come to you. If you study enough of them and you learn how stocks move and the market moves, eventually you will know what makes sense to you and you need to follow that. Like, you shouldn't try to be Kyle if short selling makes no sense to you. You shouldn't try to buy panics if you get terrified every time a stock's going down and you're thinking about clicking the buy button. Right,
Hmm.
some pattern is going to fit you, and I obviously never taught you that, but you learned that through big picture patterns, the smaller time frame stuff going on. Is it like, how would you tell people to find the pattern that works for them, like in the style of trader they are?
I I really think that if you haven't shown up every single day of the week, and this is why it's nearly impossible for someone with even a part-time job. Like if you haven't shown up for 2 years straight, then I don't really think that you have the right to say that you have or haven't found your pattern yet. Because I mean, I was growing, it was an easy market, but those first 2 years, like I still didn't like know anything at all. You really have to just show up every single day and watch small cap price action, watch behavior. How does it adapt over time, depending on what the overall market's doing? And you'll just be able to spot momentum eventually, I think. Maybe, you know?
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I,
don't know.
I
It's
I
a
always
tough question.
wonder, I always wonder how I would do scalping, but I don't trust myself because of what Kyle was saying is like, I can't imagine how bad the bad days would be in terms of tilt. Because if, like, it seems like you could never give yourself the rule, like 5 trades a day or something, because there are clearly there's so much momentum happening most days of the week. And so it's like, where is the fine line in setting rules for yourself of what am I actually allowed to do every day? Is it a max loss? Is there something that protects you from yourself? Because it's like poker, right? We sit down and play. I see London Hardy in the chat. Um, And it's like, okay, I'm gonna sit down tonight. I'm gonna take it serious, right? I'm gonna play only premiums, right? Aces, kings, ace jack, ace queen, ace king, pocket tens or higher. That's it. But you play one of those hands, it goes wrong, right? You play another one of those hands, it goes wrong. All of a sudden, you're gonna start playing 6-4 hearts because why not? And so, like,
See what the river is. Let's see what it looks like.
God, do never play,
I do
never play
that.
poker with Kyle.
I do that a
Oh
lot.
my gosh.
I'm like, I got a crappy hand, but what if I have a 2-pair? Like, you never know
He'll
what the
look you in the
river's gonna
eyes
come
and
out to
go,
be.
I got nothing. Call me.
Um,
But like, how do you safeguard against yourself that actual degenerative nature of like, where's the line between gambling and over trading and it's a system? I'm scalping.
I think that after you kick your own ass enough times, I don't know, you just like build a little bit of intuition about like, if the morning feels off to me and there's nothing on my list, I just go to the gym now. And I think that that takes some time to be able to do that because as like a 1 or 2 year trader, you want to be here all midday and watching and stuff. But
You feel lazy if
like
you're not, right?
I've gotten better at timing the slow days when I need to be away because I mean, like I yeah, I could like make money, but I was also losing a shit ton at one point because of just how much over trading I was doing. So I mean, that's a huge part of it. It's just
Have you ever had to put hard rules on yourself?
yeah. Actually Emilio was over earlier and he's seen my wall and there's a bunch of shit written all over the wall. And about
666. Oh, trading stuff. Trading stuff.
and but yeah. What did you ask me about?
Have you ever had to make hard rules for yourself? Like, if like 2 days in a row you find yourself on tilt, the morning doesn't make sense, but you keep trading all afternoon, like, because most
It's gonna happen
beginners,
every now and then. You're gonna have one of those days, but better not let two in a row happen. You know, like it's gotta do something to you when you make a big mistake. Like you have to. I've said this before, but you have to write about it. I've written about all my big red days, and I really think that
what's in
doing
common
that like
amongst all them?
external thing helps. What's in common?
Amongst all
Uh,
the days that your big losses happen? Because
the
I got to
spot,
imagine it's a lot of losses on
the
days like that.
spy is like in some sort of drawdown, obviously, and then it's always at least 10 different tickers, and it's just me losing like $400 like 12 times in a row. You know, like it's
We've
just,
all been there.
nothing works.
Death by it's funny because like if you trade like me and Kyle do, which is more big picture, like the bad days they are like that. Like I've had days like that. We call those death by 1,000 cuts, but sometimes it's just one giant loss. For you, it's like every bad day is just death by 1,000 cuts.
Hmm.
Like it has
Literally.
to be because if you're risking a certain amount, it's just like over and over, and that's got to feel horrible. Just like a day where you go like 1 of 20.
Hmm. Yep. Well, I mean, I try to like never lose like more than like 5% of my account. You know, like that would be huge for me
Oh
if I
yeah,
lost
I would hope
5%.
you're trying not to.
Right. But I'm saying like that would devastate me. So I try, I don't know, like a big red day, if I'm at 2 or 3% red, like you got to get away. Like you just have to shut down. You don't deserve to be there.
Yeah. Okay,
So
Kyle.
Well, right on. So Fran
We didn't
asks,
even say we were drinking.
we didn't. Oh, well, I guess apologize for me. I was rushing home. That's why we're a little bit late today. I just have my water. Just came and started the stream ASAP. So what about you guys?
jeez. I have
I have
some
go.
milk.
Milk,
He's having
nice.
some milk.
There
Raw
was a
milk.
question. There wasn't a question if you were sipping milk. So can confirm.
Yes. This is from Randy Walker.
The
He delivered
dealer.
it. Yeah, he delivered it today.
He just took my
The
old one
milk, the
today.
milkman.
The milkman.
He's got to fill them back up. I have some Tailored Republic 2020 Pinot Noir from Arroyo Seco, California. Ever heard of it, Kyle?
Say it again. What was the name?
Arroyo Seco?
No, I haven't.
Well, you're not really a Californian or a San Diego one.
I mean, California's long. It could be anywhere up north. Probably near Napa.
Let's see if they have
if I
a
had to
picture
guess.
of a state. They for
You
those
don't know
Californians, they
every
usually have to draw a
orchard,
picture.
Kyle?
Yeah. I don't know every winery in California. How dare I?
American Canyon? Don't even know where that is.
American
Dude.
Canyon? No idea. No.
It's got to be
clue.
near the Great Grand Canyon.
Well, alrighty, very nice, and it's a good wine. Can we confirm?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Delicious. All right.
Smells like an oaky afterbirth.
Okay, afterbirth. All right. Well, Fran asks, J Bones, how much did you start with? I'm assuming your
He's got a
first
cool
account.
origin story if you've never heard it.
So like when I went full time, I had like $4,000, and then
Which is a different approach most people take.
I don't know what you
Yeah.
guys said when I stepped out for a second, but he was a part of the original Michigan office with me, Jack Kellogg, John Dombrowski, Randy Walker. Was there a fifth? Is there only four? Was there really? No. Tom was there
Tom.
too.
Your
But
dad even stopped by every now and then.
we always make fun that Botsky was in the closet. Jordan was trading on a
TV
like
dinner
a
table.
TV dinner table.
Like the foldable.
green
Straight
one.
up.
The green one, right?
I had two of them. One with the
Yeah.
laptop, one with the monitor.
Oh, what a
In the
desk.
corner of the room.
Yeah.
Working that roulette strategy. But yeah, so when you started with this 4,000 account, it was in that room, right?
Yes. Because I traded at your place in February, or and I mean in 2019, February to whenever. But I mean, I only made like 15 trades, you know. So then after I got my job or whatever and quit, then where were you at in 2020? Was that in Grand Blanc, the
Yeah.
apartment? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, went there. I had 4,000, and I was like
Well, he took
begging.
a break. He decided to go back
Yeah.
and work for a while to grow his account.
Yeah. Because I thought the only approach to stocks was OTCs. I didn't know
We
that.
all did. That was 2019. You came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the birth of the Michigan office was at a rough time in morale.
I didn't know you could make money elsewhere. So
We didn't believe in listed stocks. We didn't allow them on the watch list.
Like, listen,
one time in 2019 when I was over, I accidentally bought like 3,000 shares of a listed stock. One time, I just panicked. Immediately sold it
Everyone's
for, like,
freaking out.
150.
Yeah. Like you just touched
What are you
poison. Like,
doing?
what is he doing? Yeah.
That thing is going to trade after hours.
Literally.
Like, are you crazy?
But yeah, I did not grow myself out of PDT. I was asking anyone and everyone if I could borrow 25 grand. And then eventually my grandparents were like, you have to grow it a little bit. So I grew it. I think I like doubled it, something like that.
Yeah, you did.
And then I went back to my grandparents. I was like,
You want to see a little proof of concept? That was cool.
yeah. I was like, I won't ever trade with your money, but I need a little loan. And
Yeah,
they gave it
just
to
get
me.
over it. Sweet.
I would not recommend anyone, like, if obviously you're not gonna want to be under the PDT rule, but yeah, I would not recommend any. If you can get a loan, get a loan.
All right.
Financial advice,
but that
is
is
not financial advice here on the show.
Yeah,
But
not
that is
financial advice.
that is the key though. Like for anyone who I've ever heard do that, the biggest key is not actually trading with that money because it's already risky as it is having it in the account. Because again, something awful could happen, and all of a sudden you have to owe on that money. But if you only ever trade with the money that's not even yours, and you're just using it to be over the PDT, that's where it's definitely the most safest. It's the people who, you always hear the horror stories. Like I've always seen screenshots of like Reddit, posts on like Twitter, and it's just like went all in, and now I'm down my whole account. Like, what do I do? And it's like, oh my gosh, But so,
Now I owe my broker.
yeah, it's like now I'm gonna file for personal bankruptcy. It's like, oh no, those are the nightmare stories.
Fran says,
Yeah.
should I get a loan from a bank or is that nuts? No, grandparents only.
Yeah. I just meant that if you're under PDT, it could add like another year to your journey. That's all I'm saying. Obviously, everyone would get the
I think,
loan.
I think you have to be very realistic. Like, I'll never say it's impossible. And I did it in a different style, like multiple small accounts under PDT until they all
Do you have, like,
equally,
3 or 4?
until they all equaled. I think I had 3
give
4
you
to
9?
5K accounts.
Yeah, to give you 9
Yeah,
trades
I
a
had
week.
just under 15,000 and I wanted more day trades. And eventually they all equaled up. One basically went to 0, the other 2 grew. That's how trading is. If you ever had multiple accounts, one is always the one that takes all the losses and one always grows.
I remember you had your separate account on like an all-in-one desktop PC, like in the corner.
Yes,
of the setup.
that was my
It
my
was the
reasoning for
neglected
getting it. That was
account.
when I learned about write-offs. But it's sitting right here. I can't find the cord for it. That thing is awesome. It's a touch screen.
Yeah.
It hasn't been used since those days. But
Alrighty.
let's get back to some questions. Um,
This is oh, Fran
what's the
also.
lore behind J-Bone?
Oh, it's a very long and dark
Probably
tale.
Dirty Tail.
No, a lot of adventures, not dirty. Okay.
Disgusting.
Um, there's really no lore. I grew up near Dominic, like my whole life. Lived like a mile and a half from Dom, small town. Started trading stocks with him,
I think
and
it means how
yeah.
did you? How, is there a lore behind the name J-Bones?
Oh, the nickname. Oh, is it in like? I see it's
Quotes.
in
Yeah.
quotations. I was super skinny, and my stepdad would always call me Bones, and then that just
And
evolved into
someone
J
someone was
Bones.
like,
Yeah,
we don't want
Jordan
it to be
J.
we don't want it to be an insult, so we'll make it a nickname, J
Yeah.
Bones.
Just add
And
his, yeah,
then
just add his initial, his first initial,
all
right on
my
top of that.
brothers and my brother's friends would start calling me it, and then my friends would call me it, and then
And you're
yeah,
stuck. All right.
it stuck.
What factors in your okay, fine. I'll let you ask one, Kyle.
Oh, do you want to? Do you, I feel like you skip the second one, which I think is good to
Oh, sorry.
acknowledge here. Because Fran asked, is everyone having a good 2 months? And it's like I wouldn't say everyone. Experienced traders are probably, or experienced traders that have a history of their January and February being good months. But if you're new, I imagine the January and February would be losing months for you because you're new, right? You're learning what it means. Just want to add that, so don't feel like if you're new and if you're not killing it, it's like you suck. Like you should suck. If you're unprofitable and it's your first year or even second year, like that's curious for you, Jordan. Like I didn't learn my February and January were my best months until like 3 years in, 3 or 4 years in for
Yeah,
me. So it
three
takes
for me.
right. So it takes time you have to go through a few years to find out how it works for yourself. So
I don't think there's any I don't believe in any of that, by the way. January is good for me always. I think it has to do with the way you're trading and what your mental state looks like going into that month. Like if I catch you on the worst December of all time, and I can break you down to your core with some big losses, some drawdowns, I don't care what opportunities come in January, you're gonna struggle. Like confidence wise, execution wise. Like I think it really just because there's been so many months where people say this is the slowest, worst month ever, where I've been like, everyone's had those where it's like, wow, I feel like there's just a simple opportunity every other day. I cash in on that. I don't trade anything else because you're following rules. You're sizing in on your setups. Like
Yeah, and
I
you're
think it
staying
has so
busy.
much more to do with where you're at personally. And I think it's probably just a self-fulfilling prophecy that you do well in certain months because you're just mentally like you force yourself to be a little more buttoned up and ready to go.
Yeah,
Um,
well to
I
play
don't know.
to play devil's advocate though on the flip side, because I do agree with what you're saying.
You're gonna
But
say some stats about the S&P
no,
or
no, no. Well, I have two things. I could the second one could be stats, but the first one is well, let's say the opposite side. You go into a month at the best mindset of all time, but you're given a market that just is so unforgiving. Whereas maybe you could trade the best ever. Maybe it's the worst month ever, where being break even is actually the best you could have ever done because it was just that tough. So you do need. I think there's an aspect of like one, you need to be mentally prepared and in a good fit, in a good shape. But then being given a market that is actually beneficial would obviously bump you up a bit, which is why I say January, February,
yeah.
because to give you that stat, I don't remember where I saw this or looked at this, but I think it's the earnings report of Goldman Sachs trading floor. One of the bank's trading floors that like actually have trading as their business. You can see how much profits they make on average per month and per year, and it's very similar to us, like just traditionally, not for
Really?
everybody, but like the January, Februarys are super high. It slowly dwindles down as it enters mid-year. You get a couple random summer months that are cool, and then it ramps back up into November, December. And ever since I saw that and I recognized that in my own trading, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like there's just trends in the overall markets that boost most strategies, but not obviously all. People could still have crappy
Yeah,
months.
maybe
If
it's
their
just like
strategy's
you can
different.
if you're an experienced trader, you can get away with more in like
Yeah,
January, February, March.
exactly. More forgiving.
Yeah, but like what you said, like if you're not already doing a good job, it's not like you're gonna automatically start doing better because soon goes further than it would have in May, or you know what I'm saying? Like if you're
Right.
not in the trades anyway, or if you're over trading bad setups already, it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
I try to approach every market or every month with a like. I like to try to be as ignorant as possible, and that's my goal. One of my goals for this year is to try to be as ignorant as possible because the more I know, I swear the more it hurts me.
You overthink it.
And you overthink everything. Like, oh, I'm afraid of this ATM. Oh, I'm afraid of bad news in 1 week. Oh, I'm afraid of, and all of a sudden you get yourself out of the game versus 2017, 18, 19 version of Dominic who is blissfully unaware and you're always there at the right time. But I try not to have expectations for any month. Like it's going to be hot, it's going to be cold. It doesn't get me anywhere, right? If you just go into it week by week, like if there's something on my watch list, I'm going to trade it and I'm going to do the best I can at those opportunities. And
Right.
I feel like having that even keel mindset for a full year, which almost no one can do. Kyle was what had 6, 7 years of no red months, like the most consistent guy I ever knew till last year. Well, he's still
Or it
consistent,
was
but it broke
2022,
the
yeah.
streak. You broke it in 2022?
April 2022. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yep.
But yeah, I just
April.
like April. What
Damn
a
April.
freaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you just look at it like instead of looking at it month by month, think about it more. If you're a beginner, I guess, or someone trying to grow, like just approach everything the same way, and you'll probably do better than paying attention to the headlines of like everyone on Twitter like 2 weeks ago was like, if you're not killing it, you're a loser. It's like, dude, none of this stuff makes any sense to me. It's day one Chinese scam gappers. What do you
Right.
want me to do with
Yeah.
that?
Did you see all this
Like,
talk about edge erosion on Twitter?
no.
People were talking about
I heard a
never
lot
even
of it.
heard
I
that
never
term
actually saw
before.
any of it.
Edge erosion?
edge erosion.
Is that
Just-
2 words? Edge, the erosion of
Yeah.
edge?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And what were they saying?
Just that I just randomly for some reason got like 40 different tweets of people talking about edge erosion for the first time ever. It was like just became this hot topic out of nowhere.
I think
Talking
it's-
about
to me,
how
it just sounds like a bunch of people who are losing money and don't know how to handle
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Right.
is that like people saying I talked
you
about
tell
my
me what
gapper
it means.
I talked about my gapper strategy online and now it's not working? Is that what that means? Or
Some people went. I think some people went into really deep depths of why they think their strategy or why
It's just copium for their losses, kind of, you know?
Yeah,
victim mentality?
Maybe.
maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look in detail enough to any of them to really figure it out. But the one
I just want to
thing
know if you heard of that.
in terms of
I'll be on the lookout.
tell me on look on Twitter. In terms of not necessarily per month, the one thing that always bugs me, and I get this comment almost once a month when I post like my monthly recaps or make my YouTube videos. There's always a once a month comment. I don't know why there's such an obsession around this idea, but I'll post a month, and let's say two Fridays of the month were like half my gains. So I had two, every day is like average up or down, whatever. But I have 2 Fridays that are like, a 40K day and then a 30K day, right? And say my month is like 90K. So 70 of the 90K came from these 2 days. There will always be a comment. It's like, oh, just stick to Fridays. What are you doing trading every other day? And it's like, like it just frustrates me that they think they could just see 4 weeks of my data, or
Or that you
trading.
haven't thought of that yet.
Yeah, like I haven't thought through. Like maybe I should only trade one day.
Well,
or not,
why didn't you
know?
only trade those 2 days?
What's up?
Why wouldn't you just not have traded those 2 days all month?
Yeah. Why did you trade
Right.
a single other
Why
Why
can't I
would
just,
you trade any
why
of the
can't I
other
why can't I
days?
just go back in time and realize when the best plays were coming around?
But see, do you see what I'm saying is, and that's what a lot of, I'll bet if you pulled up your stats, I don't want you to do it actually, I don't want to be proven wrong. But like, a lot of these hot months are just like 4 good days. And like you can have 4 good days every month. And
Yeah.
they might not be just as high. I'm not talking for more me and Kyle, not necessarily Jordan, because he might have more opportunities, definitely better for him, like more runners equals more money. Where for us, sometimes more runners just means it goes from 1 to 10 and 10 to 1 in one day, and there's nothing for us.
Yeah, it could be nothing. Yeah.
Because a lot can move and there'd be no daily chart setups. But and you can always like skin the cat different ways. The more I look at it, it's just like just show up every day with the same mindset, and you'll do a whole lot better over the course of a year than you will, because someone just wrote, "I'm worried about what March will bring." Why? Could be the hottest March you've ever seen. Could
I
be
am
the
too.
coldest March you've ever seen. Could be absolutely no different than today. Why would you ever worry about something that you have no control over and that Well, even if you knew, it doesn't change how you actually execute on those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It,
every
I
stock has its own thing. Soon was kind of annoying. Lunar had its kind of
I'm
weird
guilty of that
movements.
though. Like I still get into
I
that like,
know
oh,
you
I'm
do.
expecting March and April to be slow and it's
But
hard
why? Why? You never like be an
because they
optimist.
always have been kind of for me.
March was the
March,
first ever drawdown I ever had. Was in 2019. Was in March. It started
yeah.
it, but it was but then I
That's when I
look at it. I
started
go, it
trading
was
with
a
you.
giant loss on a OTC pump that I set myself up for. VENG or Vang or was it Vang?
no, Vang happened last year.
What was the one back then? Oh, it was
VCEX,
B. What?
VCEX, BEGL, or no, BEAG.
No, I think it started with V.
There was VCEX in 2019. There was VICI, I think.
Oh my God, I'm already. That's a good thing. I'm so far away from those losses
Yeah.
that I don't even remember the ticker.
Oh
Vim,
no, what about no? There was one that was like EMIT.
EMIX.
Is that was I know one of them.
I
I
think it
remember this one
was.
because you opened up to me about it. You're like, dude, I just traded this thing 20 times and I'm down like a lot of money.
Oh,
And you
it
just
was
kept
horrible.
you kept coming back for more. I do remember that one.
But see, that was me. That wasn't March's fault. Like
Right.
too many people. Like I'm telling you, show up
I mean,
every
the
single
retrograde
day.
didn't cause you to trade badly that week.
No,
No, Saturn didn't make you sure when
no.
you should have longed. Oh, darn it.
Just show up every single day with the same mindset for a year and let me know what you do. Because I'll bet you'd be a lot better off than with all this trying to predict, trying to go off numbers. Like, just
Yeah.
show up every day with the same mindset. I'm going to execute on what's on my watch list. Like, just
Right.
do that every single day.
Right.
Ignorance is bliss.
All right, let's go through the last few questions here.
We did start a few minutes late.
We did. Yeah, we can go a little over. Dexter asks, what factors, and this might not be we'll see how you answer this, Jordan, because I know it's different.
Whoa.
What factors in your
I just saw a comment and I was mad.
Whoa,
yeah,
what?
whoa. What factors in your favor would turn a setup of yours into A plus? Like what technical factors would make you size down? So what? Yeah, I guess what makes you size up? What makes you size down when you look at a chart on any given day? It makes you feel more aggressive. You know, like that feeling you were talking about. Like what would give
It's
you that
so
feeling?
hard to describe.
Right. That's what I
But
figured.
typically the more days of consolidation, the more conviction. Um, like so, sometimes you're looking at 5 days of consolidation into a multi-day breakout, like that's sick. But then I don't know, sometimes there's 3 day breakouts that happen very fast and they're like super clean. So, but it's just volume is always better. It's always better to have a crap ton of liquidity. But as far as just factors, I'm just looking for price tightening, and I really just would like to go through my kinfo because honestly, I forget most
I
of my
think I'll
trades
tell
at
you
the
the
end of the
answer
day.
for you. You want me to just tell it for you? The
Yeah,
answer
go
for you
ahead.
is Chaser's market. You like the markets from like 2 and 3 weeks ago because buyers never give up. They're constantly proving that they might be on the right side of it, so they're not afraid. When buyers are in control and shorts are kind of tentative, that's the market that you feed off of because that's when a stock can fade on a day one gap and crap from 5 down to 2 and squeeze from 2 to 4 from 2 to 4
Mm-hmm.
o'clock in the afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that
Yes.
type of when people are confident, when people are like still feel like they can make their money back. But in other markets, like you see gap and craps go from 5 to 2, and then the last hour is from 2 to 150.
Right.
You like the markets where they're perking into the close.
So a portion of shorts are going to get faked out into, like, for example, into the end of the day, So how can I find risk reward under VWAP, banking on the fact that shorts are most likely going to cover and people are also going to buy a little bit and chase it up. And those two things are going to give me that leg or two that I'm looking for to scale out in. So yeah, it's really just tough to say. It's just trade by trade.
I agree.
It's always trade by trade.
A question here about the boot camp, which I'm very excited for. I'm actually leaving tomorrow, so it's officially begun here. What's the
Is
agenda
that
for
far away?
right? What's the agenda for the boot camp this weekend? When should I get there? So Mazel, if I'm pronouncing your name right, log into our website. You should have got an email for this, so do not check your spam folder. But if not, I'll tell you how to do this. Log into our website, or log in with your login, obviously clovertrading.io. go under your courses, because if you bought the boot camp, you now will get this thing called, March 2024 boot camp. In there, there's a couple of disclaimers. You got to go through it, accept it, whatever. And then we'll tell you the itinerary. Basic rough outline of the itinerary, where to be, times, addresses, places to be, etc. So go in and check it there. And if there are any other questions, feel free to reach out to support@clovertraining.io or the chat bot on the website. They will give you all the info you need there. So there's that.
But in short answer, we start Saturday morning at 9 a.m. sharp, right?
Yeah. So I think you can get there a little early if you want, 8:30, but 9 is when the speech will begin.
Yeah, for all of you out there, just Saturday, Sunday, presentation style. We'll have a ton of guest speakers. If Jordan wants to just randomly give something talk, we'll make him do it. No, I'm just kidding. But Jordan will be there for all you wondering. Him, a couple of the Michigan boys, successful traders will be there out in the crowd for you guys to talk to and harass with questions. Now you know his face. And then Monday is live trading. We also have a cocktail hour Saturday night. All right. Matthew says, I'm a loser and I like ointment. Meg says, just tuned in, guest speaker. I thought you were Daniel Radcliffe for a hot second. Harry Potter.
Hello.
Do you get that a lot, Jordan?
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
I've never gotten that.
Really?
Because
I do cool. See it as I look at it now.
I see it a bit.
Yeah, I see it. I do see it.
Can you guys talk about how you gauge if a catalyst is good or bad? Which one makes you long bias, etc? See, I feel like this is a loaded question that people that can't short sell ask.
Wait, what? Can you guys talk about how you gauge a catalyst of good or bad? Which ones make you long bias, etc.?
I feel like you have to have your bias before the catalyst, usually.
I feel like your bias should come from what the chart is doing.
Yeah.
I don't judge a catalyst without knowing the catalyst. What I mean by that is I need the catalyst to play out. So catalyst comes out. I generally avoid day one stocks because I don't know what the reaction to that news is going to be. So I'll let it do what it's going to do, whether it's going to go on a run that's going to start a multi-day move or whether it's going to top out at 9:31 and fade all day. And a little bit of, honesty, like whatever it does that day is probably not because of the catalyst. 99% of the time in small cap land, the catalyst is just a means to an end. Mm-hmm. What's going on behind the scenes? What's going on dilution wise? What's going on fundamentally, share structure wise? Those are the important questions to ask. The catalyst is just what gets the stock volume for that morning on that day. So price action is going to tell me whether I should be long or short bias based on what it does from there. And usually it means it has to at least hold up for some sort of period of time. But I think Kyle probably has rules against like earnings winners for short selling. I don't have a lot of rules when it comes to catalyst unless it's part of a bigger global type of sector like AI, marijuana, Chinese scam. Like if it's in a grouping of something else, then I'll give it more credence.
Yeah. I've never been good at gauging. I've never been a news trader. Like I can't just see a PR, a stock spike randomly, whether it's in pre-market after hours or in regular hours, and then immediately create a trade plan about that or get in and out very quickly. Like I've never been good at that.
Yeah, that's what they want you to do or
right.
try to do.
Right. That's a great way to put it. They want you to be Ross Cameron and to show up every day at 8 a.m. and to just buy everything with the PR.
React to news.
Yep. Right. When we don't even care about what we laugh on Good Morning Nasdaq about the news every morning.
Perfect example.
I haven't read a catalyst in forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll read the headline just to know because if there is if it's deemed an earnings winner, I definitely will maybe think twice about shorting it, but I won't rule it out per se. Perfect example was this week actually. And if you watched that episode of Good Morning Nasdaq, you saw how odd I thought it was. But ultimately ignored it, and actually I did end up shorting it. Was AULT. They put out earnings that like they boosted their revenues by like 30-40%, whatever it was we said in Good Morning Nasdaq, and added like over like 8 figures of revenue to their bottom line. But then we did the math of their market cap, and it was like this company is only like worth $5 million, but they just increased their revenue by like 30 million. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like this should be way more overvalued. And I just kind of looked at it. I was like, no, just shut your brain off to the PR. Like, trust your gut here. And I short, and it like faded beautifully. It got crushed, right? So it's tough when it comes to catalysts, and maybe some people do find an edge there, but I love what Jordan said. Like, the gamble behind it is kind of what a lot of people want, especially the companies themselves. Like some companies, like what was it the other day, or other week, MARK did a fake, not a fake PR, but a pumpy PR that they're partnering with Microsoft. When really, once they put out the 8K, they just were buying Microsoft's product. Like, it was like me if I bought Microsoft Excel, and I'm like, I'm partnering with Microsoft, guys. Look at me, how cool! And then they're delisted because of that news. Like, that's how BS they were. So you got to be careful when it comes to that kind of stuff. So,
Dom, I have a trade
what?
from today. If we can pull up a chart, a rare day one scalp. I don't always scalp day ones.
I could pull up a chart.
Let me guess what ticker was on. It wasn't on VANI.
It was.
No way.
It was.
When?
At 139.
The move into view up that I shorted more of?
So I bought 1:20 p.m. I thought it would trend break up from there, and it didn't. So I sold for like minus 300.
I need to see a chart.
Yeah,
Kyle, you doing it?
What's the ticker?
Oh shit. It's VANI.
Vanny.
Here we go. All right, we got a chart up in the middle of our faces here.
I had like 100 shares all day.
A little Vanny action.
What were you doing with this?
Huddy wasn't in the live trading segment this morning, so I had to do something for him.
Okay.
It's trade a strategy.
Well, not literally, but you took a trade. You took a trade in his absence.
Oh yeah, it worked.
It's like he loaned me $100. I took the trade. Like, no, that's not how that worked.
No, he better owe me 3 because I risked 300.
Oh, okay. But anyways, I got a chart up here for people to see.
Okay. So this is what actually happened. I saw that it was like a really good wedge going on at 1:06 p.m. So if you could like kind of imagine up until that point, kind of looked like the price was tightening to me. I bought and then it immediately snapped down, and I sold
Make
for
it
like
bigger,
minus
Kyle.
minus $250. And then that was with like 7,500 shares. I waited and waited and waited, and then
7,500 shares. That's a pretty quick moving stock.
I know. And then I bought again at 1:12 p.m. because I thought I was going to break back above 4 there, and it didn't. So I sold for like minus 400. So I'm at like 700 in losses. And then I was like, all right, I'm done with it. But then like 20 minutes later, I saw that it based at 375 2 more times. And I saw that final wick candle. I don't know if people can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but
right here.
there's one final candle with a wick. And I saw that whatever volume I'm seeing, that's not accurate. There's a crap ton of volume there. It soaked up off 375 one last time. So I marketed 10K and I got filled at like 381. And then I scaled it all out between like 420 and 430.
Wow.
Because I didn't know if it was going to go above VWAP. It went all the way to 510.
Yeah, it is a move next.
So that was just
nice.
A random example of something that I don't like. That's not really a pattern, but
right.
I literally
price
added
action.
like 10 shares, 10 and 20 shares to that tiny like gap and crap position I had on that at that exact same point. So I think it's like, it's funny how we're all trading something different that we see. I'm adding to a position that I think is going to be lower tomorrow. He's saying, I think in the next 25 seconds, it's going to be higher. Like, we're all playing, like, and we're always angry, right? We're angry why BBAI is bouncing back all the way to green this morning. But some dip buyer at 312 this morning is going, this is exactly what I hope to see, right? Every market participant is thinking differently and wants something else to happen. It's rare that everyone is just looking for one particular outcome, and that's what makes a market. But I think it's so fascinating, and there are a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, I'll bet you J Bones is watching this, or like I see this tight ABCD on this first green day or something. Like, we'll sometimes cross paths and make the same trade. He'll sell a little sooner, but it is just interesting to like market participants. Like, they're a thing. He just traded 10,000 shares of that right there. Like, that's,
but like the pattern to me was literally just that final wick candle. Like, just reading the tape when that happened.
Yeah.
Like, you could see on the tape what happened. Bunch of shorts just tried to pile in because they thought 375 was finally going to break down. Failed to break down. Soak back up. Ends with a wick. That's your entry. Risk 375. That's like I got 6 cents of risk, and I sold for like 50 ish, 40 something.
Yeah, pretty sweet. I mean, that's yeah, that's a perfect example of those scenarios where it's like not there's not a traditional setup, but it's a very short time frame inefficiency that you have experienced in the past or of just showing up every day. You've learned to read that, and you saw that right there. You're like, yep, we get long, and it happens. It happens all the time, you know. So
Do you have hard stops? And I'm not saying like you put a stop loss in, but you go in, obviously, you probably size into a level. So that way, worst case is I have to cut under a level. I'm risking what I want to risk. But if you
Yeah.
immediately don't see what you want to see, is it just mark it out?
Um. Yeah. I mean, it depends, but sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Definitely no stop on quotes though, just because like I don't want to like register that liquidity onto the level two because I don't want them to target it at all, you know. So I feel like stop on quotes are kind of out of the question. But yeah, if I'm expecting something and I don't see it within like a few minutes, it's usually just a small loss or like a break even, small win type of thing.
Very cool, very cool. Let's see. Any other questions? Robert says buy high and sell higher.
I do that. I do that a lot. I
That
am
is the
not a
definition of the way that Kyle longs.
yeah. I will. That's when it comes to a breakout, I will buy high and sell higher, 100%.
Dom, if you shorted Vanny, where did you get in and out? I shorted it after the first halt. I actually shorted it right out of the gate per Gap and Craps and accidentally sold on or covered on accident. So I reshorted again right after the halt and then held all day. And I'm actually still short using Gritani's Doji Day 1 now. So I'm mixing two patterns. It's so tiny, it's not even funny. But it was up, what, 400%, something, or
It
three
was
or
up huge.
400%.
Remember I mentioned that
And
in
I was
before the
like, I
open.
could
Yeah.
actually make a couple hundred with 100 shares here, risking 40%. So
Nice. Well, alrighty. Any other last comments, Dom? You want to
Meg says
mention here?
Wingardium Leviosa. Nailed it.
Nice. All right.
True.
True, true. Well, I'm excited for the boot camp. This is the last. I'll talk to you before, I guess, good morning, Nasdaq. Tomorrow, Kyle won't be with us in the morning. He'll be traveling.
Yes, I will. I'll be traveling there. I'll be getting there. So
So it will be just me in the morning for Good Morning Nasdaq. Tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. start time. So looking at about 12 hours and several minutes. Um, And yeah, we will not have an episode of Good Morning Nasdaq Friday morning, as the rest of the crew will be traveling. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Anyone that we've seen before, anybody new, going to be a good time. Got a lot of presentations, special guests, Stephen Ducks, Jack Kellogg, David Hanlon, days of live trading. Going to be a good time. Really looking forward to it. J Bones will be there. So thank him in the chat right now for being here tonight, sharing his wisdom with you all on Wisdom
Pleasure.
Wine Wednesday.
Pleasure.
It's his pleasure. If you want him back at any moment, just let us know. And he seems pretty easy. I know where he lives, just so you guys know. So at any moment, I can get him.
Someone said, have you found to be, or what have you found to be helpful when cutting at risk level to work with slippage? But I feel like slippage is always going to happen. So you'd have to work that into your system.
yeah, bake
Part
it
of the
in.
game. Know what you're trading. I don't know if Nate
Yeah.
said it or Cortani said it. Know what you own, something like that. If you're trading a low float, know that it's a low float. If you're trading a 100 mil float, know that there's liquidity.
Yeah.
Know that there's liquidity there. So just
Bids
like,
love to disappear every now and then,
yeah,
you know?
you got to know what you're trading, and adjust your position sizing based off of that. All right, everybody. We will see you first thing tomorrow morning, 8:45 a.m. right here on the YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the like button on your way out. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss anything. Kyle posted a video Monday. It's going absolutely doing great numbers right now. About SMCI, great trade from a few weeks ago. Go check it out once we wrap it up right here. Who
Awesome.
said you betting, Nick? Who's Clover trading right now? Is that you, Kyle?
Uh, it's because Nick asked, wait,
Oh,
was Kellogg
okay.
and Duxby at the boot camp? Absolutely, they are speaking.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So yeah, Clover Train's replying
Yeah, if
to
you
them.
want to buy a boot camp ticket 3 days in advance, the tickets are available on the site. You still want to get after it. If you
There
live
are
in the
still spots.
area, last second you're going to be there. Price will not be going up in the next 3 days, so lock it in. But we will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for
Beautiful.
being here, and we'll see you over in the Clover Trading Room.
Peace, everybody. Later.
See ya.